Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is actually the second time that I'm recording this video because the first time, I don't know if it was my graphics card or GeForce experience, but something freaked out and the video didn't capture properly, which is kind of disappointing because it ruins the surprise, but I'm gonna run through this once again just for the sake of this video. So what you're looking at here is Microsoft's virtual museum. A lot of people are calling it the Xbox metaverse. I hate this word. I think it's stupid, so I'm gonna call it virtual museum. I'm gonna leave the link to this museum on the description down below in case you want to check it out for yourself. But this is basically a celebration of the Xbox history, the Xbox brand, from the inception all the way through the Xbox Series X and S. So basically, you have sections. You're gonna run through halls that have kind of different exhibits for different aspects of the Xbox history. So I'm not gonna go through all of this. I'm just gonna go through some stuff that I think it's interesting. You guys can check it out for yourself. What I'm actually most interested in is this one right here, Explore My Xbox Museum, because that's the section of the museum that actually shows your Xbox stats from the very first Xbox all the way through the latest Xbox, and it shows stuff like your most played games, your achievements and stuff like that. So that's the stuff that I'm the most interested in, and I love learning this stuff. I love learning what people are into, what people spend the most time into. So let me know what shows up in yours. Sign into your account. You need to be signed in to check out this personalized stats, and let me know in the comments down below how yours look, like your most played games, your first games played on any given Xbox and stuff like that. I love learning about this stuff. So, but before we go to the Xbox Museum, let's start out here and explore a little bit of the original Xbox history. So I don't know if all of these characters are other people exploring the museum at the same time, but it doesn't really matter. So we have these guiding lines here on the floor, but we're gonna go here first. You can control your character with the WASD, which is basically how you control any game on the PC, really. Let's start out with this one. So, a team of game-obsessed renegades deep within Microsoft's corporate structure rally around a preposterous sounding goal: to use the resources of the world's largest software company to build a new console. So, it shows a little bit of the people behind the creation of the original Xbox, the head of the Microsoft Team Studios, the DirectX guy behind the DirectX, and we have the DirectX team, the original team. We have a bunch of people here. I don't know. I think I've heard of Shamos before, but Shamos, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I think I've heard his name before somewhere. Yeah, I think it's cool that they kind of created this sort of portraits, caricatures of the people behind. It kind of adds a little bit more of personality to the whole thing. So let's get out of here and see what we have next. So birth of a prototype. Drew, Angeloff, and Horace talk about the night the team presented the idea to Horace. The founders discuss the birth of the Xbox. There's a video here. I'm not gonna play it back because this video is gonna be longer than it should be, but you guys can watch it on your own time. But this is basically showing some of the concepts of the original dashboard, of the controller, of the console, really. And you can see a bunch of interesting stuff here. I really love seeing this stuff. I think it's cool that Microsoft put out something like that because it's a proper way to celebrate the history of the brand. Okay, we're not gonna spend too much time on it. We have here the meaning of green. Let's see. This one I didn't see. I didn't check out on the first take that went down the drain. Designer Horace Luck envisions an otherworldly, all-seeing eye at the center of Xbox design. Its glowing green color will signal players are entering a portal to another world. So that's basically the idea behind that big ass X at the center of the original Xbox. So, fun fact: I have never seen the original Xbox in person. Never. I've never seen the controller. I have never seen the console. I've never seen anything about the original Xbox in person. Okay, Xbox is approved and funded. I don't know if this is redacted or it is just a design choice, but this looks like. Yeah, I don't know. Microsoft tries to acquire Nintendo. This looks like the proposal letter that they presented to Nintendo or something related to Nintendo. And I don't know if Microsoft put this green text box in right in the center to kind of redact some of the stuff that's written in this document, or if it's just again a design choice that has nothing to do with it. The first Xbox prototype is revealed. The first prototype needs to differentiate itself from the big blend motherboards of the 90s with style and flair. Ultimately, the decision is made to make the first console in the shape of its namesake, a giant metal X. Oh, look, I've seen this. I don't know. Is this the prototype? Yeah, this looks like the prototype. It would be sick if the final version of the console launched with this design because it's beautiful. This is one of the most. I know this is gonna be a divisive opinion, but I think this if this launched the way it looks in the prototype, this would be probably the most beautiful console ever launched. I love this stuff. It's really different. Kind of huge too because yeah, the original Xbox wasn't known for a small size. The first Xbox prototypes revealed. Now, holy crap, this looks ugly. I didn't see the stuff on the first take. Just so you know, this is kind of a genuine surprise. This looks like a toaster or or a grill. I don't know. It looks pretty bad. But yeah, this X shaped Xbox, I think it's my favorite one out of these prototypes. Microsoft acquires Bungie in June 19, 2000. We have the Warthog here. Xbox finally gets a name. Bill Gates and The Rock join forces to unveil the Xbox. Now, this everybody who knows Xbox know about this moment in time, the famed conference. Xbox's first games are showcased at GameStop 2001. What is this? Oddworld, Munch's Odyssey, and Bizarre Creations. Bizarre Creations, I think it's the studio behind the Project Gotham Racing franchise. Xbox is launched November 15th, 2001. So we have the original Xbox here. Notable games that launched with Xbox. So these are all launch games. Project Gotham Racing was one of them. To me, the Project Gotham Racing is one of the absolute best not only games but franchises that the Microsoft has ever created. Or I don't know if it was Microsoft that created them, but it's a game I would very much like to see back on the Xbox Series X. I don't think that's gonna happen because they already have Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon. I don't think they would see much sense in releasing a game that would basically be in competition with Forza Horizon despite being a completely different game. But yeah, this is very much a game I would like to see back soon. A much smaller controller, the Controller S, is released. Now, I remember that this was kind of a big deal for the Japanese market because Japanese people have smaller hands, and the Duke, the original Xbox controller, was kind of the bigger side. and that would be a challenge for Microsoft to kind of market the console with such a big controller. The fact that the console was already big would be a challenge in and of itself to market for the Japanese market, but yeah. So the controller S, which was basically a smaller version of the Duke, was made, I think, specifically for the Japanese market, and then would later be released, I think, in the US. I don't know. Xbox goes global with European and Australian launches. So the console basically launched 4 months later after it was launched on the US. Okay, Xbox Live launches. Let's see this one. Xbox Live is the first online console gaming service that combined matchmaking, voice, high-speed downloads, and friends lists across all games under the vision that within 5 years, every important game will be online. Microsoft was right on the money with this one because, well, if we look at how gaming looks these days, it's pretty much the vision that they had back in 2002, believe it or not, 19 years ago. So they were right on the money with this one. Notable games that launched in 2002: Splinter Cell. Yeah, that's the first, I think, Splinter Cell, and Unreal Championship. Most notable games that launched in 2003: Knights of the Old Republic, very popular game. Xbox Live Arcade. Xbox Live Arcade launches as an add-on to Xbox 360, but is a surprise hit in its own right. Players love being able to download their favorite small arcade titles like Defender and Joust, and developers love being able to create without needing the infrastructure of a big corporation behind them. Now, to give a little bit of context, when I got my Xbox, my wife gave my Xbox 360. I didn't have a console for like 5 or 6 years, and my Xbox 360 was my first console after this period without playing any games. So the concept of downloading games was completely new to me, because the last console that I had was, I think, a Nintendo 64. There were no downloadable games back then, at least in Brazil, United States, and not in Asia. And so the concept of downloading games was kind of new to me. I didn't really take advantage of the Xbox Live Arcade until much later. So I didn't really understand what it was about when I got the console. But I do remember that my Xbox 360 game came with a Hexic HD pre-installed. I deleted the game. Funny fact, I deleted the game from a hard drive because I hated it. But yeah, that wasn't why I was buying. I had an Xbox 364. Halo, I don't really care about Halo, but it's there for those who do. Notable games that launched in 2004: Fable and Halo 2. Halo 2 was a big deal for Microsoft, to remember. Now this speaks to me. Forza Motorsport debuts on Xbox in 2005. Now, this is something that I learned on the first take of this video. I thought that Forza Motorsport was actually a launch title for the original Xbox, but turns out it launched much later into the console's life. But yeah, what do we have here? No, go to my Xbox Museum. Before, let's just check the Xbox 360 Museum. The Xbox One, I'm not going to check in this video because it's still fresh in our minds, so we all remember the disaster that's been how weak that console was and stuff like that, so I'm not going to really go into detail on this one. But the Xbox 360, it's been kind of a long time since that console launched, so we're going to be checking this out. Breaking with industry tradition, Xbox 360 is unveiled during a special televised event presented by MTV and hosted by Elijah Wood. Yeah, I do remember that was kind of a big deal. I think I was watching a Digital Foundry reacting to a Digital Foundry video reacting to the original Xbox 360 press conference, and I do remember that they put a segment where this thing is kind of going on, and it was kind of over the top to me to announce a game console like that. I don't think companies would do the same these days. That wouldn't stick these days. What do we have here? Xbox 360 early colorway alternates. Kind of like this kind of gray colorway more than the white actually. Oh, they had a kind of one with white and a red stripe going across the bottom. Xylophone color direction. This blue looks kind of cool. What do we have? Yeah, black. What the hell is this? Xbox 360 early sketches and prototype. Holy crap. Now, I don't know if these prototypes are for the dev kits. If it is, then okay. But if this is the prototype for the actual console, holy shit. I'm glad that they changed the design. Again, this looks like a grill, a toaster, a suitcase, or whatever the hell it is that Microsoft was going for on this one. This kind of looks like an external DVD drive. Yeah, these look really bad. Yeah. The meaning behind the 360 name. The Xbox 360 name is chosen to imply that the gamer is at the center of a massive 360-degree universe of entertainment, which provides something to enjoy no matter which direction the user looks. Choosing the 360 moniker also allows Microsoft to sidestep having to name its follow-up console, the Xbox 2, at the same time Sony is releasing the PlayStation 3, a numeric confusion that could create a false notion of technical inferiority. Now, this kind of makes sense on paper, but I think this is a stupid naming convention because history shows us that Microsoft went back to Xbox One when Sony was releasing the PlayStation 4. So this concept of technical inferiority based on numbers maybe was a thing back when the 360 came out. I don't think this is a thing anymore. I think people, players, are way more informed these days about what each console is able to do than back then when we only had magazines to rely on for information. The Xbox 360 is launched. Let's check this out. Xbox 360 combined the connectivity of live with the industry's first ever HD graphics. The 360 theme abounded with circular design cues throughout the hardware and interface, an invitation to jump in. The controller, the dashboard, and pictures of the launch event. Probably, yeah, this is the launch event. Now, when I got my Xbox, the dashboard didn't look like this. It was already updated to the design that's closer to what we have today on the Xbox 360. So I didn't catch the early days of the dashboard like they have here. What's going on? Okay. Notable games that launched with Xbox 360: Perfect Dark Zero, Cameo, Call of Duty 2, Madden, and FIFA. Xbox 1 year anniversary surprise. What is this? Xbox 360 celebrates its first anniversary with the launch of Xbox Video Marketplace, signaling a move towards digital media distribution. I didn't know that this was a big deal back then. Never bought anything of the sort on the Xbox or PlayStation. I might have something that I got for free, but nothing that I actually paid money for. Notable games that launched in 2006: Gears of War. 2007, the Xbox 360 Elite is launched. I don't remember what this is. Yeah, I don't. I really don't remember. Let's see what we. Yeah, the infamous red ring of death. Xbox 360 is released to white hot demand. Consoles are flying off store shelves when news starts to trickle back to Redmond from retailers and gamers alike. Something is very wrong. The so-called Red Ring of Death renders the 360 unusable and self-destructs millions of consoles. Xbox faces a crisis, fix the problem immediately or risk extinction. Under the leadership of Peter Moore and Steve Ballmer, Microsoft spends over $1 billion to repair faulty consoles and extend the 360's warranty period from 1 to 3 years. The replacement of faulty consoles affected by core digital errors concludes in 2011. Now, fun fact, back when my wife gave me my Xbox 360, I was aware of the Red Ring of Death. And I remember that when we went to the store to get the Xbox 360, I had them open the box because I wanted to check the serial number because I knew that the consoles that had this issue fixed had a different serial number. So I I had them open the box to check the serial number before getting the console. Never had any issues with that, probably because I was careful about that. Xbox 360 Arcade is launched. Okay, so the Xbox Live Arcade was for the original Xbox, and this one is for the Xbox 360. Kind of mix things up. Notable games that launched in 2007: Halo 3, Forza Motorsport 2, that I still own to this day, the disc, Mass Effect, BioShock, the Orange Box, Madden, FIFA, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. Xbox announces a partnership with Netflix. Don't care. The NXC dashboard. I think that's the dashboard that we got today. Notable games that launched in 2008: Fallout 3, Project Natal. So this is where things kind of started derailing for Microsoft. That's when they decided to kind of start focusing on the wrong audience for the platform, because that's, for those of you who don't know, Project Natal is what would be later called the Kinect. And that's when Microsoft kind of shifted their focus from the hardcore audience to the more casual players, if you will. So that's when they started releasing some weird games, and Xbox kind of became dull. They went from a great platform to something that was pretty much limited to a set number of games that everybody got fed up with. Xbox and Zoom team up. Project Natal officially announced as Kinect. What else? Kinect is launched. Yeah, that's the beginning of the downfall of Microsoft, leading up to the release of the Xbox One. And as we all know, there was too much focus on the Xbox being an actual all-in-one entertainment hub rather than being a game console, which is basically what we all wanted. The Xbox 360S is released. I had this one too, the black. I that's the one that I held for the longest. Kinect Adventures, I had it because the Xbox, my version of the Xbox 360S was the one that came with the Kinect, so it came with this game. Stupid game, I hated it. The Metro dashboard, that's the dashboard that we still got today, I think. Notable games that launched in 2011: Gears of War, Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. Microsoft launches Xbox Entertainment Studios. Minecraft is released for Xbox. Notable games that launched in 2000. Wait, is there something here? I'm having a hard time kind of moving the camera because the controls are not inverted. So I'm pushing left expecting it to go right, but it goes left. Notable games that launched in 2012: Forza Horizon. I got this day one, pre-ordered the deluxe edition. Still have it to this day, the disc. Love this game, played the crap out of it. What else do we got here? Let me return to home because I just realized that I missed something on the original Xbox. That's the point that I wanted to make, that I made on the first take, ended up skipping over. Okay, so this is the one that I skipped over, I think. Xbox is launched, so let's check this one out because there are 2 points that I want to bring here. The first console designed for a broadband world combined powerful processors, had a built-in Ethernet port, and was the first console to feature a built-in hard drive. Its introduction thrilled developers and gamers alike and paved the way for digital marketplaces and both streaming and downloadable content. In short, the features in the original Xbox permanently changed the direction of the gaming history. Now, this one is true, but there's two things. The first one is that it came with a built-in Ethernet port. That was kind of a big deal back then, but I think a bigger deal was made out of the inclusion of a hard drive with the console. And if we look at how gaming looks these days, we pretty much need hard drives in the case of the Xbox Series consoles and the PS5 SSDs, but we need storage these days to play games. We can't do without. Even if you buy discs, we still need the storage. And I remember that back in the day, I didn't, as I said, I spent like 5 years without owning a console. My last console, I think, was the GameCube, I think, which I owned for maybe 6 to 8 months. Then I sold it off. Anyways, so I kind of skipped over the PS2, the Xbox. I never seen one in person, so I don't even need to tell you that I never played one. But I used to buy gaming magazines back in the day, and I would read up on all of these consoles and as things progressed. And I do remember that back in the day when Microsoft announced that the Xbox would come up with a built-in hard drive, it was kind of a big deal because first, that would be the first time a gaming console would ever have a built-in hard drive. And second, Microsoft got a lot of criticism because I remember that people were criticizing Microsoft because they said that Microsoft was trying to turn consoles into PCs. And a lot of people made fun of Microsoft. As we all know how history played out, we all need hard drives. I'm sorry, I don't know if you heard the sound of a door being slammed. The neighbor doesn't know how to close doors quietly. So let's return the home here and check my actual stats. Let's head to the Xbox, my Xbox museum here. That's the part of the video that I actually wanted to focus on. So here it shows your total gamer score. I don't know if this number is correct. I think it's a little bit higher because I have unlocked a couple of achievements yesterday or today, I don't remember. So total number of titles played, 471, which is quite a lot. I know that on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One and the Series X, I have maybe around 300 games digital. So probably the difference here is games that I played on disc. Total achievements earned, okay, number of rare achievements, gamer score through the years. So the year that I got the most gamer score was 2017. I believe I was in Japan back then. Yes, I think. Then 2018 kind of dropped off quite drastically actually, because I think that was the year that I spent mostly playing Forza games and I had already unlocked most of the achievements for them, which is why my gamer score kind of dropped a lot. 2019, I started playing different games. I think that's why it kind of climbed higher. 2020 was when I got Game Pass. I think that's why the gamer score kind of climbed up. And 2021 is on track to be my second year with the most gamer score. Now, I don't really go for 100% gamer score these days. Back then, I used to care a lot more about 100% in games. These days, I don't care as much. Maybe it's because I'm older now. There are a few games that I try to go for 100%, with Forza games being one of them. But overall, I don't really care about gamer score. So this is basically a consequence of playing a lot of different games because of Game Pass, rather than me trying to go for 100%. But yeah, this is something that I still go for occasionally, but not as hardcore as I used to go back in the day. First console played, the Xbox 360, that checks because, as I said, I skipped over the original Xbox. Xbox 360 was my first Microsoft console. One of the first games you played, Forza Motorsport 3, that checks, but the actual first game that I played was Project Gotham Racing 4. When I got my Xbox 360, it came with two packing games. Two Human, which was an awful game, and the other game was Project Gotham Racing, which I played a lot. So that's the actual first game that I played on my Xbox 360, but that checks because as soon as I found out about Forza Motorsport, I my wife actually bought this game for me as a gift. One of the multiplayer game you played. So yeah, this doesn't say that this is the first multiplayer game you played because that would be wrong. The first actual multiplayer game that I played was also Project Gotham Racing 4. That was the reason why I signed up for Xbox Live Gold because again, as someone who skipped over the entirety of the PS2 in the original Xbox era, the concept of playing online with other people all over the world was new to me. I had no idea how that would work, so I was interested in checking out how that would work. That's the reason why I signed up for the Xbox Live Gold to try to play Project Gotham Racing 4 online. I hated it. I hated it because that was my first experience with rammers and dirty drivers, and I didn't play it for too long, online at least. Offline, I still play that game a lot. First signed into Xbox Live, September 25th, 2011. I don't know if that checks. I don't remember when I got the console, so yeah. It's interesting because the Xbox One is not really showing up here. I got the Xbox, I think, about a year and a half later when it came out in Japan, which was already a year later than everybody else. So it was basically 2 years and a half into the game's life, into the console's life, that I got my Xbox One back when I was living in Japan. First play of most played game, September 23rd, 2016. First game per console, Forza Motorsport 3. That doesn't check. As I said, my first game on the Xbox 360 was Project Gotham Racing. Forza Motorsport 3 I would get later. Xbox One, Forza Motorsport 5, that checks because the first two games that I got on the console, that I got along with the console, was Forza Motorsport 5 and Forza Horizon 2. Forza Horizon 2 I ended up enjoying a lot more than Forza Motorsport, but that was actually the first game that I played on my Xbox One. Xbox Series X, Overcooked All You Can Eat. I think that checks because I was probably downloading Forza Horizon, the updated version, on my Xbox Series X, and I probably booted up Overcooked because it's a much smaller game and it downloads a lot quicker, so I was kind of excited to check out a game that probably checks. First achievement, Bottom Out. I have no idea what this one is about, but this is probably related to a Forza game. First rare achievement, Do You Come Here Often? I have no idea what this one is about. Most played game each year, all Forza games, that really checks. Forza 2017, Forza Horizon 3, 2018, Forza Motorsport 3. Now this one is wrong because I played a lot of Forza Motorsport 3 back in 2011, I think, and I put in maybe 300 hours over the course of that year, which was a lot back then because I had 3 jobs back then. 300 hours over the course of a year is a lot. But not 2018. 2018, I was basically revisiting Forza Motorsport every once in a while, but I was probably playing Forza Horizon 3 instead. 2019, Forza Motorsport 7, that checks because I played a lot of that game. 2020 and 2021, Forza Horizon 4, that checks. Forza Horizon 5 just came out, so there's no way I'm gonna put more time than I put into Forza Horizon 4 over the course of 2 entire years. Most played game, Forza Horizon 3, that doesn't check because my most played game on the Xbox is Forza Horizon 4. I'm gonna check my stats later once I'm done with this, just to make sure that I'm not off, but I think Forza Horizon 4 is my most played game on the Xbox. Top 5 most played games, all Forza games again, all racing games. Yeah, that checks. Most rare achievements. I have no idea. Yeah, these are all race Forza achievements, but I have no idea what which games are these from. These are from actually. So this is my gamer card. Yeah, I don't have the original Xbox, but pretty much since the Xbox 360, I've owned every single Microsoft console. The original Xbox is actually one of the consoles that I still would like to own one of these days. There are a lot of racing games that I never got to play, so one day I would like to own on an original Xbox and play all the racing games that I missed out on. Top genre racing game doesn't surprise me. As I said repeatedly, racing games is what I put the most time into, regardless of having a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is just a reflection of what I usually play. But yeah, so this is the Xbox Virtual Museum. It has a lot of cool stuff. I'm gonna go back here once I'm done with this video. I'm gonna go back and read carefully each section for each one of the consoles because I find it fascinating to read upon the history of the brand, the history of the consoles, how it came about, how it changed over the years, for good or for worse. And I think it's really interesting. Microsoft really didn't have to do that, but they did, and it's just a cool way to celebrate the history. So if you're a fan of the Xbox as a brand, it might be worth checking out, especially for the My Xbox Museum. It's gonna show all sorts of cool stats about your history with the Xbox brand. So let me know in the comments down below what your stats are, your most played games, the games that you put the most time into, your first game on any given Microsoft console. Let me know in the comments down below because I love learning about this stuff. So let's head out of the Xbox Museum and into the Xbox app just to check my stats to see if they are correct or if they are wrong as I think they are. Okay, so we're on the Xbox app. Let's check real quick what my play time actually is in Forza Horizon 3. Let me see if I find the game here. Yeah, here it is. So Forza Horizon 3, I hate that Microsoft, instead of showing the actual time, they show it in days. It's just a stupid decision, but let's do the math here. 30 times 24, yeah, 8 hours, 728. Now this is wrong. As a matter of fact, I know this is wrong because my in-game play time shows that I have, I think, a little bit over 1,000 hours put into Forza Horizon 3 in total. And this is an issue that I've had with some of the other games that I own, where for some odd reason, Microsoft didn't keep track of all of my play time, and there's a big chunk missing. So let's go back here to Forza Horizon 4. So yeah, 53 days. So yeah, I was right. So Forza Horizon 4 is actually my most played game on the Xbox. 53 times 24 plus 19. So I have nearly 1,300 hours put into this game, which is a lot. Even if Forza Horizon 3 if my playtime on Forza Horizon 3 is off, it's not going to be by this much. So yeah, Forza Horizon 4 is my most played game on the Xbox, of all of the Xboxes. Just for fun, let's see how much time I put into Forza Horizon 5 so far. The game barely came out. I think it hasn't even been a month since the game came out. So 5 times 24 plus 6. So 126 hours. So that's a lot because the game barely, as I said, it's barely been a month since the game came out. I have a full-time job outside of YouTube, so that's quite a bit of time, at least for me personally. But yeah, so that's been a real cool walk down memory lane of the Xbox brand, the Xbox consoles. Repeating a third time, let me know in the comments down below what your stats are, your most played games, your first games played on each one of the consoles that you've owned. I love learning about this stuff. So yeah, But anyways, this video is already long. It's clocking in at around 40 minutes. I'm gonna try to cut it down. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to, but hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.